Hi, it's Tracy, and I wanted to share with you today some of my favorite cosmetic brushes that you can get at the drugstore. I always see on YouTube the beauty gurus talking about, the expensive brushes, but I don't often see people talking about a whole collection made up of drugstore brushes. Now, I do have a few high-end brushes that I do use and I enjoy, but the bulk of the brushes that I use on a daily basis are drugstore brushes, and I find that they work very well, and I'm very happy with most of them. So I'm only going to share with you the brushes that I love, the ones that I really do go to. They're my go-to brushes, and that you can get at the drugstore, or drugstore prices, like you might have to go to Ulta to get them or something like that, but you can get them for inexpensive prices. So I'm going to start from the order that most people put their makeup on. This isn't actually the order that I put my makeup on, but I'll start with the order that most people put their makeup on, with a foundation brush. And I don't use this every day. I've shifted to some high-end brushes, but I do really like this brush, and it is the Sonia Kashuk foundation brush. It's got a nice big fluffy head. It's very dense. It does a really good job of buffing in the foundation, and I find it to be comparable to many of the other brushes like the Sigma or the Sedona Lace brushes. I have a Sedona Lace brush that I use that is quite similar to this. So it's a Sonia Kashuk foundation brush. Also, a brush that I use quite a bit is the e.l.f. complexion brush. All right, now I don't use this for foundation, but I do find that I use it for setting powder. So I'll just pat, and just lightly brush with this. I find that it's very soft and it works quite well for that. A brush that I frequently use to apply bronzer is the Real Techniques blush brush. And I know it's the blush brush, but for me, this works really well. To me, this is too big. Look at that. That's too big for me for blush, but it works really well as bronzer, especially if you're just looking for that glow. You're not really looking for contouring. This works really well. Now, you can use it for contouring if you just use the tip and you just put it right in the hollow. It works really well for just getting that all over glow. Now, another brush that I like for contouring, and I apologize, I'm not even sure where I got this brush, but I know that it was super cheap. I think I got it at Walgreens, and it might have been their Studio 35 brand. And that is, and it's really dirty, this little brush. It's a little short. It's really a blush brush, but what I like it for is for contouring with bronzer. So I'll put it right in the hollow of my cheek, and I find that it's just the perfect size, and it's very soft. It cleans really well. It's just got a nice fluffy head, and I know that this was less than $5. It might have only been $2 or $3, and I really enjoy that brush. A brush that I use for blush, and that I use most days for blush now that I found it, is one that I heard about from Kristen Game, and that is this little guy, this angled brush. You get it at Walmart. I believe it's $5 or $6, and I've actually bought a backup. I've got 2 of these now, and to me it's just the perfect size for applying blush. It's very soft, it cleans up very nicely, and I think, like I said, it's $5 or $6. I recently discovered a new blush from the drugstore for applying my highlight. I've been really kind of unhappy with all the different brushes that I've tried for applying highlight, and so I recently discovered this brush, which is the Sonia Kashuk fan brush. And I find that it does a really nice job of diffusing the highlight so that it's not too much. It's very soft, it cleans up nicely, and it's bigger than, say, like the e.l.f. fan brush, which is really, really tiny. This is bigger, and it seems to do a better job. Also, from the drugstore, of course I should stop saying that, shouldn't I, is this Real Techniques powder brush. I really like this for buffing everything out once my face is completely done. I think it's really got a nice soft fluffy head. It does a good job of You know, you can use it for powder, and I do often use it for powder, but oftentimes I just buff everything out because I may have already tapped on a little bit of setting powder before, and so this is just to smooth everything out and make sure I've diffused all the edges. So now let's get on to eyes, because I use a lot of brushes on my eyes. So but pretty much all of them are Drugstore, and I love them. First of all, we'll talk about the brushes that I use for packing on the shadow. And I've got a new favorite, but I still like this other one too, so I'm including it because they're both very, very good. All right, my new favorite is the Sonia Kashuk small eyeshadow brush. What I love about this brush is how small it is. I have a very small amount of lid space on my eyes, and oftentimes these kinds of brushes are just too big. They're usually about twice as big as the head of this brush is, and I find that this is just the perfect size for getting right in there just on my lid and not anywhere else. And you can also, it's fluffy enough, you can see, you can kind of get in there with your crease and blend out your crease a little bit with it too, but it's really, really great for just packing on the color on the lid. Before I got this one, the brush that I was using was another favorite. And this brush is really more versatile than the Sonia Kashuk small eyeshadow brush, and that is the Real Techniques eyeshadow brush. Okay, this is the one that comes in the kit that has all the little eye brushes. It has an eyeliner brush, it has a smudge brush, it has a few other brushes. This is the only brush in that kit that I really love. Unfortunately, they don't sell this exact brush individually. They have another eyeshadow brush that I've looked at, but it's not the same. And what's so special about this brush is, see how it's kind of pointed and it has the duo fibers at the end? It's really awesome. You can do your whole eye with this brush. You can pack the color on the lid, and then, see, it's fluffy enough for you to actually blend out the crease and do crease work and diffuse everything. So you can do your whole eye shadow look with this brush. You don't even really need a blending brush, except for the fact that you might want a clean one in order to blend out the edges. Speaking of blending brushes, I have quite a few here. This first one is a new favorite. I just recently purchased it, and it's kind of wonky looking right now because I just washed it and it's not quite dry. But it's the e.l.f. crease brush. This is a $1 brush, y'all. And it's very soft, and it works just perfectly for getting in and blending out the crease. I also really, really like and have used quite a bit these two Essence of Beauty brushes. I believe that's what these are. Yes. Essence of Beauty brushes. These come in a little, they're really short. See? These come in a little duo package. I got them, I'm pretty sure, at the drugstore at Walgreens, I believe. And I love these. This larger one is perfect. It's the perfect size for blending out the crease. And this smaller one I really like for working in like more precise with, to do a darker color to intensify the outer V. I really enjoy it for that. And these are really soft brushes. They clean up beautifully. Awesome. And I think these were, the package of the two of them were probably $3, something like that. Really inexpensive. Another brush that I love for doing crease work and blending out harsh edges is another one of the $1 e.l.f. brushes, and that's this one right here. It's the eye defining brush. It's angled, but it's kind of fluffy, and it does a great job of sculpting that shadow right there. I have hooded eyes, and this is perfect for getting just the right angle. I've also used this to pack on color before. It's really a nice brush. It's very soft, and I have a backup of this one also. And then lastly, for blending out, this is my go-to brush, fluffy brush for just blending everything and, you know, doing a soft wash of color, and that is this Sonia Kashuk blending brush. And I just love it. It's super soft, it cleans up nicely, and it's just the perfect shape for blending. not so much for initial application unless you're looking for a soft wash of color. Sometimes if I'm trying to do a really soft eye, I'll use this to apply all of my shadows so that I don't get a lot of intensity, but it's just more of a soft diffused look, and this is a great brush for that. So now we're getting to the end of it, trying not to make this too long. So one of my favorite brushes for putting eyeshadow under my lower lash line or setting my eyeliner on my upper lash line with shadow is not an eyeshadow brush. It's also an e.l.f. brush. It's from their $1 line, and this is what is called a concealer brush. It's the teeniest, tiniest little brush. It's got pretty much a square head, very thin, and it is just the perfect size to get right under that lower lash line and place color. And I've also used it, like I said, to set my eyeliner on my upper lid with powder shadow, and it works beautifully. And again, $1. Right, and then I've only got 2 left, and these are both eyeliner brushes. All right, one is from, yes, another of my favorite brands, Sonia Kashuk, and this is the Sonia Kashuk eyeliner brush. It's got a very pointed tip, but it's a lot fuller, and I love this for eyeliner, but I also love it for putting highlighting in the inner corner. I use this oftentimes to smooth out a pencil liner and just make everything kind of seamless and, you know, blended. I'll smudge under the lower lash line with this one as well. I don't use it so much for liner. Honestly, it feels too big to me for liner, but it works beautifully for so many other purposes. And then the liner brush that I've just recently purchased that I really do like is the Real Techniques liner brush. Now, this is not the liner brush that comes in the kit, the eye kit. That one's much thicker. This is a much finer brush. It's got a much finer tip, but it's very firm. It's very stiff, and it really does a great job of putting gel liner on and getting it right where you want it. And it actually will allow you to create a really nice wing. So that's my roundup of all my favorite drugstore cosmetic brushes. And if you have any that I missed, please let me know. I'm always on the hunt for a good bargain when it comes to a brush. I hope you're having a great day. Take care, and I'll talk to you real soon.